All right. Welcome to 5 Live Free Code School. All right, let me check the Twitch stream. Make sure everything's good. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm pretty excited about this. When we get through this SQL part, we're really going to start to be able to build full-blown programs, web applications, which is great. Sudesh, how much of the W3 schools material were you able to get through?
Few commands.
Okay.
And I had a look, some installation videos and things like that. So
on some installation videos.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. SQL.
Did you install any kind of computer program?
I haven't. No.
Good.
I
Okay.
had. Yeah.
We're going to do that tonight.
Okay.
So, okay, good. All right. Now, for a little while, I'm going to have you guys continue through that. But what we're going to do is transition from doing it in the training interface on W3 schools to doing it on your local machine. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull onto the screen here the URL that I'm having everybody go through, because for those people looking at this in the future, I want them to know the tutorial and have people go through. There it is on the W3 schools. Okay. But what we're going to do today is we're going to choose one of the many available relational database management systems, and we're going to install it on our computer. More precisely, we're going to make it so that on our computer, we have a server, a database server. And on that server, we'll be running a database management system. And we'll also install an editor that you can use to interact with the server. Now, there are a lot of available free database management systems out there. We're going to use MySQL. Very, very popular, decently easy to install. And nearly all of what you'll be doing is just using the standard SQL language. Now, we're going to do this manually. I'm not going to give you any kind of a cheat where I do any of the install for you. One of the things I want to stress is that setting up a database server, either on your computer or on a remote computer, is a giant pain in the butt. It's just not fun. That's my opinion. But been doing it. I've been installing database servers for 25 years, and it's never fun. All right, here's Jonas. Let's give him a minute to arrive, and I'll catch him up. Hey, Jonas.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Hey.
Couple quick questions to get you couple quick questions to get caught up to speed. How far through the W3 schools SQL tutorial did you get through?
I only read through the first three sections.
Okay, all right, that's fine. What I was telling Alexander and Sudesh is that over the next couple 3 weeks, I'm going to expect you guys to move through all of that. We're going to learn all of the SQL stuff that's covered in here. Okay, but we're now going to transition to be able to do that on our local machines. Now, I want to clarify something. The tutorial I showed you was a quote unquote MySQL tutorial. But as I said in Discord, I want to use that for you just simply to learn the SQL language. So again, clarify the difference. SQL is just a specification or a standard for a language. Like almost any language in the computer industry, someone writes up a description of, if you were to implement this language, here's what it would look like. They create a specification or a standard or a protocol. We've seen lots of specifications, standards, protocols so far in our training. There's a specification for HTML, that language. There's a specification for JavaScript. Anybody remember what that specification is called?
ECMA.
Yeah, ECMAScript. Exactly. From that European Computer Manufacturers Association. They came up with the specification. Now, looking at JavaScript is a nice way to look at some analogies in the database world. Remember how we talked about the fact that many different browsers implement JavaScript maybe slightly different ways? The fact is that a browser company looks to the specification for JavaScript that's published, and they decide how they're going to implement that in their browser. And as you do a lot of web development, you'll find that from browser to browser, there might be slight odd variations in how your JavaScript programs behave. We'll cover that later. Some of the same thing is true for the SQL world. There's the language itself, which exists as an abstract idea, and then there's actual implementations. So when we look at a database management system for relational databases, it's going to make some decisions about how it implements SQL. So what you've been studying in this tutorial, and will continue to study, is the way the MySQL database management server happens to implement SQL. Now, the fact is, they implement it almost exactly as the specification says. There's certain tiny little outlying things that aren't even worth looking into right now, and they change from time to time. So you just know when you're studying MySQL in this tutorial, you're studying SQL, you're studying the language. You're studying the variant of it, or the implementation of it, to be more precise, that the people behind MySQL have decided to do. So, any questions on that clarification, the separation between those things? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to install onto our computers two different programs. The first is the actual server program for MySQL. It's called MySQL Server. And that program will allow a server to be stood up on your local computer, on which can be databases that are run according to how the MySQL folks decided they should be run. So that's the first program we'll install, is MySQL Server. Then we'll install a separate program called MySQL Workbench, which provides an integrated development environment, an editor that you can use to view your server, to look at all the databases on it. So I want to give you a bit of a preview of what that thing looks like, and then we'll go about installing it. So I'll share my screen for a second. So let's minimize some stuff here. Lots of stuff to minimize. Not as if I'm busy or anything. And there's Vox Machina because they're awesome. All right, so here's a program called MySQL Workbench. It's version 8, and the CE means Community Edition. That's a free edition. There are for-profit things that the MySQL folks do. Now, MySQL happens to be owned and administered by the giant technology corporation Oracle. And sometimes when you go to install the free one, it makes you set up an account with Oracle. I'll try to bypass that or guide you into bypassing it. But if you do, I did it years and years and years ago, and I've never once received an email from them. So it's not as if you're setting yourself up for spam. But let's start this program. And remember, this is the IDE or editor that lets you view and manage databases. And I want to clarify something right here. On the top here, it says MySQL Workbench, the official graphical user interface tool for MySQL. It allows you to design, create, and browse your database schemas. Now, can anybody take a crack at explaining what a schema is?
It's a collection of tables in MySQL.
Yeah, that's part of it, exactly. Let's expand it a little bit. It is a description of a collection of tables in a database and the relationships between those tables. From a very broad sense, you could actually consider a database to be a schema. And that sort of terminology is used quite often in MySQL. And you'll see that in a moment here. So, any questions on that? Okay, so we can create and browse database schemas. We can work with the objects inside databases because there's more than just tables that exist inside databases, as you'll learn. And we can insert data, and we can design and run SQL queries, as you guys have been learning to do in that tutorial. You can also migrate schemas, i.e. databases, and their data from other database vendors into your MySQL database. So that's what this tool lets you do, is it lets you manage and administer databases. Now, those databases live on a database server. Remember last week we talked about the fact that the way these databases work is it's a client-server relationship. This program you're looking at right now is a client. In the future, your computer programs that you design will also be clients and will be able to compose queries, send the queries into the database server, and retrieve information, or insert information, or modify information. But for right now, the client is this program right in front of you. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So notice down here, it shows one or more connections. This is a connection to a server. Now you're going to set this up on your own machine. I have two different connections. One is to a local server. The server happens to be called MySQL 80. That stands for version 8.0. That's the default name for the server. The user that I can connect to it with is a user in that server called root. And the location on the network, this symbol is a network symbol. The location on the network is my local host, the built-in server, port 3306. Any questions about this information? Okay. I also happen to have a connection to a database that's out in the cloud in Azure. Now, this database doesn't exist anymore. It was for training and I killed it. But the connection is still here. So we're going to use this one. We're about to connect to the local MySQL server that's called MySQL 80. Click on it. So the program I'm using just authenticated with the server, and the authentication was approved, and now I'm connected to the server. Now there's a lot going on in this interface. I'm going to show you the basics. There are two different tabs right here, administration and schemas. These schemas are databases, a CSR database, a demo database, an orders database, another copy of an orders database, and a database you're going to become pretty familiar with called Sequila. It's a demonstration database that you can install when you install MySQL Server. There's also a system database that you should never, ever, ever, ever touch. It stores things related to MySQL Server. And then there's another database called World. I have several different databases. So administration tab down here covers things like what's the status of the server. So the connection is to the local instance of a server called MySQL 80. Here's data about what port. Eric Lenovo is the name of my computer. What version of MySQL Server is running on it. Just a bunch of data about the actual server itself. Different features that might be available. Where it stores different information. Information about traffic. How many SQL selects are being done. None, because nobody's doing any activity. But you see, you can monitor the server. You can see who's connected to the server. You can see what users there are. There's some internal users, and then there's the user that I'm using called root. If I click on root, I can see a bunch of different privileges. Like, what am I allowed to do? There's a lot going on here. Don't expect you to remember all of it. I'm just letting you know that this program called MySQL Workbench really lets you run everything about one of these servers. Can I export data from a server? Can I import data to a server? What kind of performance am I getting? There's a lot of information. You won't spend a lot of time in that because you're not going to be administering servers very much. You'll spend more time here in schemas because you'll be creating databases and you'll be creating the tables inside them. And you'll be working with the data in those tables. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So we'll come back to this. What I want to do right now is have you install both the server program and then this workbench. So let's find out where to do that. There's a nice empty tab. I want you all to follow along with the Google search. MySQL server download. And make sure you go where I go. All right. Let's look here. So follow along, make sure you're at the right place. MySQL Community Server version 8.0.3.0. Select the right operating system. Yep, you're all on Windows, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the installer. All right. Let's go to the download page. Now let's clarify here. These two things are vastly different in size. So this is, let's see. What I love is how they don't define anything about the difference. Install the big one, the 448 megs. So click download. Now, don't click on anything yet. Did you all get this page?
Yeah.
Okay. My browser was not working, sorry.
Oh, is it just slow or is it not working at all?
Now it's working, and I'm on the page.
Okay. Down
MySQL.
here that says no thanks, just start my download. Use that. I'm not going to do it because I already have this installed. Dude,
Okay, shall I download the 5.5?
yep. Yeah. If you're looking at the same ID up here, you see this?
No,
512698.
no,
that
it's
All right, go
it
back.
says 8.0 HTML
Which of these did you click on?
on the first one.
Click on the second one, the big one.
The big one? Okay.
Yep. And then click on that. No thanks, just start my download. Alexandra and Sudesh, is your download started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when it's done.
Okay, it has begun. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, good. Stop sharing. He's going to have one of you share, and the rest of you will follow along. So as soon as one of you is done with the download, let me know.
It's done.
Good. How much do you have left to go, Jonas? I know your
Okay.
connection isn't super strong.
Yes, it's slower here.
How many megabytes so far?
380.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's getting close.
Alexandra?
I think it froze for me, so I was gonna try canceling and restarting it.
Okay, go for it.
It's downloaded now.
Okay, good. Let's let Alexandra get done.
Okay, I think it's done now.
Okay, good. All right. Sudesh, go ahead and share your screen if you don't mind. And I'm going to lead Sudesh through doing this install. I'd like you both to follow along. So go nice and slow. Okay. Click on the installer there. Yeah. From your downloads. You know, just wait. Just wait. Don't click on it twice. This takes a while, guys, and it's a big program.
Yes.
I can't see it. Is
Okay.
it approved? Yes.
It just-
Yes.
yeah.
Say yes. Was it the security permission?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now stay right here. Jonas and Alexandra, let me know when you also see this screen.
Okay.
You see that, Jonas?
No, not yet.
Okay. One of the things I want you guys to experience is all the decisions to be made and how long this takes. Because when you get on a developer job, you'll almost always have to set your computer up to do this.
I'm on that screen now.
Okay, good. Sudesh, let me know when you're there. Oh, not Sudesh. I mean, Jonas. Jonas, let me know when you're there.
Okay. It hasn't even shown the progress bar yet.
Okay.
I think the connection is very, very, very poor.
Well, this is all local on your machine. It might just be that you have a slower machine.
Okay. Yeah.
It's all right. We'll figure it out. There's no like dialogue asking for permission, is there? Sometimes the permission dialog opens up, but you can only see it down in the taskbar down at the bottom of the screen. You see anything like that? Jonas?
Yeah. Yeah. It opened up now. It asked me for permission.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, say yes.
Yes, I did.
While we're waiting on Jonas, let's talk about a couple of the things here. There are different ways to install the server. You can see these 5 different options on the left here. We're going to choose developer, but don't click next yet. Click on server only and see how the setup type description changes. It's just the server. Click on client only. So you don't get a server at all. This would be if you're going to develop applications for a server. Click on full. You get the server, you get a shell, like a terminal to connect to it. You get a router to route in between different instances of a server. You can have multiple instances of servers up and running. You get the workbench, which we want. You get connectors. They allow you to connect to different data sources, documentation, samples, everything. And finally, click on custom. And this lets you choose.
Yes.
Jonas, has this appeared for you
Yeah.
yet? Okay, good.
Yes, it's ready.
All right. Go ahead and click on full. And click next. Everybody follow along. All right.
Yes.
So do you all have this same thing that popped up?
Yes.
Okay. Click back. Everybody click back and choose custom. Now click next. I don't have anything to do with Visual Studio yet. All right, now we're going to go very slowly here. We're going to choose different options here. So on the right, it's already going to install server and workbench. It says MySQL for Visual Studio. We don't want that. We do want a shell, a router, these connectors. So on the left, open up applications, the plus. And open up MySQL for Visual Studio, the plus. And then open up the next plus. Okay. Now, what happens? Okay, here's what I want you to do. On the right, single click on the Visual Studio option, the third one down. Single click. And click the left green arrow to take that away. Good. Everybody do that?
Yes.
All right, good. Now click next at the bottom of the page. All right, this is going to install everything. Click execute. This could take a little bit. And depending upon how much room you have available on your hard drive, we might run into issues. So let's just see what happens. All right, install the server. Which step are you on, Alexandra? Just curious.
It's currently still installing the server.
Just a question, Eric.
Yeah. Yep.
When you create the database and the data will be stored in your local machine. Is that
Yep.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, all this is going to be local on our box. It'll be on a server and we'll have to access it through a server. We'll have to establish a connection to the server using whatever that port is, 3308 or whatever, 3306, I forget the default port. We'll have to authenticate. So part of what we're going to do during this setup is create a user and a password that will allow us to connect to the server once it's up and running. How big's your hard drive, Sudesh? Do you know? Don't go anywhere. I just want don't just do me a favor. Can you open up your task manager? I'm just curious. Do you know how to do that?
Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can right click down in the empty space at the bottom of the taskbar. No, to the right of left, right there. Nope, the empty space. Right click. Oh, weird.
Task message.
What OS are you running? What operating system are you running?
Windows
Windows what? 10?
10, yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, let's close that. Yeah, give me a Control-Alt-Delete and see if you can open up the taskbar. Or the task manager, yeah. Oh, it's not bad. Okay, you can close it. That's fine. Like I said, this can just take a while, but I want you to experience every bit of the joy and pain of it. Where are you at, Jonas?
Installing the third product, MySQL shell.
The shell? Okay.
Yeah.
The third one down, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Alexandra?
The workbench, 74%.
Okay, good. Sudesh, once you stop sharing, that might actually speed it up. You can consume some resources that we don't really need right now. let me know when it starts to move again, because it's been on 45 or 6 or 7 for a while, right, Sudesh?
It's 48 now.
Okay, good. Where are you at now, Sudesh?
50.
Alexandra?
With this shell now, but like 3%.
Okay. All right.
That's the hardest part, installing the shell.
Yep.
The rest are going too fast.
Are you past the shell, Jonas?
Yes, I'm left with 3 of them.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right, good. Don't do anything when it gets done, Jonas. Just wait, okay?
Okay.
Excellent. Where are you at, Sudesh?
I'm at 4th from the bottom now, 88,
Okay, good.
95. Yeah.
Excellent.
Last done.
Okay, good. Where are you at, Alexandra?
It's like the bottom one. It's almost done.
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and share your screen. And Alexandra, let me know as soon as you're done.
Okay, it's done.
Okay, good. All right, everybody click next. All right, let me read this. Configuration wizard for the server, the router, and the samples and examples. All right, click next. All right, now, a lot going on here. Server configuration type, the correct server configuration for this server installation. Setting will define how much system resources are assigned to the MySQL server instance. Keep it on development computer. Notice that it's specifying what protocol to use. Everybody see TCP/IP? Anybody remember what that stands for?
It's for network protocol.
Right. Does anybody know what the acronym TCP stands for?
Transfer control protocol.
Good, excellent. Transfer control protocol. What about IP?
Internet protocol.
Absolutely. Those two protocols are the highest level, most fundamental protocols for the internet. Now, remember, going back to like very early classes, the difference between the internet and the web. The internet is a network of computers along with protocols on how to exchange information between those computers. That's what the internet is. And the most basic protocol that almost every other protocol kind of needs to work in are these two: transfer control protocol and internet protocol. So you'll see those terms a lot. So when our computer, now listen to this very carefully. When a client program on our computer wants to connect to the server, the MySQL server that's on the local host of our computer, it needs to use the TCP/IP protocols, and it needs to connect to that localhost server on that localhost server's port with a number 3306. And there's some other stuff, X protocols, we're not going to get into that. It also has already by default, open a Windows firewall port for network access. The Windows firewall controls access to different ports on your machine. So it's saying, listen, on localhost, assign port 3306 to the server we're about to install. Make sure that the Windows firewall allows you to send traffic back and forth on port 3306. Any questions about this so far? All right, good. Go and click next. We're not changing anything here. All right. Use strong password encryption for authentication. Yes, we're going to do that. There is an old school legacy way that MySQL used to allow you to authenticate prior to MySQL version 5. We're not going to do that. So just click next. Now, this is ultra, ultra, ultra important, beyond 1,000. Your MySQL root password, you've got to write it down somewhere safe. Like if you have LastPass or 1Password, some password protector, write down the password you're about to put down there. And only when you're certain you can remember it, type it in twice. It won't show it to us on the screen. Well, type one character. It should show asterisks. Yeah, okay, good. So put your passwords in, but make sure you've saved it somewhere. Because trying to break into a server you've forgotten the root password for is super difficult. Okay, good. Alexander, don't click next or anything. Alexander, are you done putting your passwords in?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And Jonas, are you done?
It says I'm trying to change the password.
That's fine. Take your time. There's no hurry on any of this. Let me know when you're done. And again, don't click next. There's more to discuss about this page.
Yes. On the
Okay. All right. So let's
Sorry.
talk about the bottom dialog. MySQL user accounts. It says create MySQL user accounts for your users and applications. We'll talk about the second part of the sentence in a minute. There is a built-in user called root. It's built into the MySQL Server program. What you just did in the upper part of this dialog is set your password for that built-in user. But you can create lots of other users, user accounts that can connect to this server. You would set names and passwords for them. Now, you would also assign them a role, and the role defines what things they're allowed to do on the server. They might only be allowed to read data and never change it, for example. They might be allowed to read and write data, but not create or delete databases. You have a lot of control if you're running these servers over what people can do on the databases on them. You guys aren't going to be database administrators, and it'll be a little while in your career before you need to muck around with this stuff too much. But I just want you to reinforce the concepts here. You are setting up a server. Servers respond to requests. Servers have a responsibility to make sure that the person who's sending in the request is allowed to access the server. And they have a further responsibility to make sure that the thing they're asking to do, that they're allowed to do. And that's where users and roles come in. We're not going to create any right now. We can always create them later, but I want you to understand that. Any questions about that? Okay, cool. Click next. Now, does anybody know what a Windows service is? It's okay if nobody does. Think of a service as a program that runs continuously once you turn it on, but does not have a UI. It might be a program that every 24 hours checks a specific folder to see if there's new contents. And if there are new contents in the folder, sends them to a specific email address, for example. It might be a program that every 5 minutes checks Reddit to see if anything new is on the front page and sends you a text message if there's something new. It could do anything a computer program could do. It just does not have a user interface. It doesn't have a UI. The server itself will be a Windows service. That's how it lives on your computer. It doesn't have a UI. Now, MySQL Workbench is a UI, but that's a separate program. It's not the server. The server program doesn't have a user interface. Any questions about that? The other thing is you can name the service. You see where it says MySQL 80. That's the default name. You could change it to whatever you want. Don't change it. It'll just make our lives confusing, but you could change it if you want to. Also notice that the box that says start the server at system startup is checked. Keep it that way. It spins up the server as soon as you start your computer. And then there's an option for who has control of turning this service off and on. And it's the standard system account. That's some Windows stuff. You don't need to get into it too much. Again, there will be a point in your career where you start mucking around with these kind of things. I just want to discuss them. Go ahead and keep all the defaults. Any questions about this page? Okay, good. Go ahead and click next. All right, so It's about to do all those 7 steps. Write a config file, update the firewall, adjust the service, initialize the database, start the server, apply security, and update a start menu link. It's going to do all those things. So everybody click execute, and this bad boy will start to actually do those 7 steps. Don't touch anything, just wait while it's doing the 7 steps. And just wait until everybody's done. Everybody let me know as you get done. Obviously, Sudesh is done. You got a pretty fast computer, don't you, Sudesh?
So, yeah, it's a little bit.
That's cool. Y'all are doing great. I mean, overall in the class and also with this database stuff. So everybody let me know when they're done. So the server's up and running on your computer right now, Sudesh. We're going to connect to it in a minute.
Mm.
But you have a running database server on your computer, your local computer right now. It's kind of cool.
It's done now.
Okay, good. And Alexandra, you let me know when you're done. Now, what I hope happened for everybody is it installed the sample database. It's called Sakila. It might be pronounced differently. I don't know. I've never found out. We'll find out in a moment here because we're going to use the workbench to connect to this server. Which step are you on, Alexandra?
Initializing database.
Okay.
It's finished now.
Okay, good. All right, everybody click finish. All right, now we'll walk through a configuration wizard. Click next. It's probably for router. All right. This is for clusters of database servers working together. We're not going to do anything on this. Just click finish. Click next. All right. Oh yeah, here we are. Sample schemas. Remember, a schema is used here to mean a database, all of its tables and the relationships. So we have a server called MySQL Server 8.0. It is running. Go ahead and put the password in that you set. Yep, check it. Good. And when you're done with that, click next. If anybody has a problem, let me know. I want to make sure everybody's on the apply configuration screen. Alexandra, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jonas?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, click execute. The scripts are what's going to create the sample database. It might not take very long.
So are we going to check the radio buttons
Don't-
here? No.
Don't click finish, Sudesh. Well, give me
Yeah.
that again, Jonas.
I saw the button, the radio buttons checked in Sudesh's dialog box.
That's because he clicked execute
Okay.
at the bottom of the screen. Do you see execute?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they're
Thank
not radio buttons. They're just steps to be performed. They look like radio buttons. I thought that the first time I installed this too.
you. Okay.
Are you done, Alexandra?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Jonas, let me know when you're done.
Okay. No, it's done.
Okay, good. Everybody click finish. Click next. All right. And it's going to start the workbench for us. So everybody click finish. And it should start the workbench, which is what we want. We don't want the shell. Don't worry about that. You can close that later if you want. Go ahead and maximize the size of this workbench program. Notice we all have a connection. Now go slowly here. Click on it once. The connection to your local server. Now stop for a second. Before you even type it, click Save Password in Vault. Yeah, everybody do that. Then put your password in. And don't hit OK until I explain a bit about what we're doing. Everybody get your all passwords all ready. So remember, this program you're looking at, MySQL Workbench, is a client capable of communicating with a MySQL Server program. Well, the MySQL Server program that we have installed is on a server, the localhost server. More precisely, on the localhost server, port 3306 will route traffic to and from the MySQL Server program. So everybody look here. On this side, you have an actual MySQL Server program continuously running. It's a Windows service. It's inside a Windows, the localhost server. Outside of that is the workbench, and the workbench needs to send traffic in on an exact port to the localhost server, which will then send it on to the MySQL Server program that's inside it. Any questions about that relationship? When you click OK, it will in fact send the username and password through port 3306 of the server called localhost. That username and password will get passed on to the computer program called MySQL Server. And if that's the right username and password, communication back and forth between this client called MySQL Workbench and the MySQL Server program will occur. So everybody click OK.
Sorry, Eric. I haven't seen this dialog box yet.
Oh, okay. Stop sharing for a second. Sudesh, Jonas, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
It may not have auto started the workbench. Oh no, did it start the workbench program for you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, let me just see what's going on. Did you click on the connection, the gray square called My Instance? Click on that to connect.
Okay.
Click on the Save Password in Vault button. Put your password in. And then click. This is leave you sharing your screen. Click OK. And it's connected. Go ahead and maximize the size of the program. Okay, the first thing is we want to see any databases that are on here. On the left-hand side is a window called the Navigator. You see how it says blue background? It says Navigator.
Yes.
There's 2 tabs in the Navigator. You're in the Administration tab. I want you to switch to the Schemas tab. So down at the bottom of the Navigator, you're on the nope, keep going down. It says Administration. Switch to the other tab. There you go. You're still in the Navigator, but now you're navigating the schemas. Good. Notice it has Sequila as a database. Does everybody else have a Sequila database?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't have one.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Stop sharing for a second, Jonas.
Okay.
And go and share your screen, Alexandra. Do you have one, Sudesh?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think it's because I had a MySQL back when I was in college, because those look like the databases from there.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. That's fine. All right, so
right.
we're going to install Sequila. So open up a browser window.
Okay. Can you see it or
Nope.
maybe I need to reshare 1 second?
Yeah, no problem.
Share screen.
This is actually good. I'm going to show you how to install a database onto this server. So open up a tab here and type Sequila database manual install. S-A-K-I-L-A.
S-A-K?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, manual install. All right, now. Good. Click on the top link. All right, right at the first sentence. The Sequila sample database is available from. All right, click on that first link. Scroll down. All right, example databases. The third one says, fourth one says Sequila database. So click on the zip file, download the zip file. Now open up the folder that's contained by the zip file.
It's right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Open that folder. All right, now, do you have the option to show file types enabled on your computer? Open up your control panel.
Okay.
I just don't. It should say Sequila.SQL, and I don't know why it doesn't say .SQL. So go to Appearance and Personalization on the right, and then click on File Explorer options in green. Click on the View tab, and then, oh yeah, right from the bottom, one up from the bottom, hide extensions for known file types. Uncheck that.
Okay.
Okay, click Apply, and there you go. All right. Okay, all right. So I think that, okay, so there's 2 SQL files here, okay? I want you to right-click on the schema file and open it. I just want to just see what this looks like. I'm not sure what program it'll open it in. There it is, okay? Now, that's all comments. Scroll down slowly. All right, so stop right there on line 36. Remember that a schema here can be used to create a database. So if you look at line 36 and 37, it's basically saying if a Sequila database already exists, then drop the database. And then on line 37, it says create the database. So it's basically delete and reinstall. And then go scroll down a little bit. I want to see everything from line 44. There you go. And now it's making tables. It makes an actor table. Scroll down a little bit. It makes an address table. We're not going to look at all of it, but you can see what it's doing. It's saying, if the Sequila database already exists, delete it, and then start making it. Make all the tables. Make all the relationships. Again, there's a lot of code here. We're not going to dig into any of it. Open up that folder again from the zip file. Right click and open up the Sequila data. Once you already have the Sequila database, scroll down and you'll see, look at line 38. It uses the Sequila database. Every other command down below that will happen on the Sequila database. Look at line 45. We're inserting actors. Scroll down. There's a lot of them. Stop. Now we're inserting addresses. You see it on line 252. So these two different files, one is to create the database in the tables, and the second one is to insert data into those tables. Everybody follow that? All right,
Yeah.
So I want you to open up the, all right, close this. And now,
Close this one too.
yep, close that one as well.
Okay.
Now, we want to run those scripts from inside here where we're connected to the server. So what I need you to do is you're actually going to open up a little code editor. Take your cursor and scroll it from the left to right slowly across all those symbols at the top left. Nope, the symbols.
Oh, the symbols. Okay.
That one says create a new SQL tab for executing queries. Scroll to the right. Open a file in a new query tab. Scroll over to the right. Open an inspector for an object. Well, we're not going to get into all that. Go back one. Open a script file in a new query tab. Click on that. Find that file. You probably go to downloads. And then
Not listed. Maybe all files. Oh, I didn't extract it. I think
Yep.
that's why. Okay.
go ahead and extract it. Good catch. Yep, that'll work.
Just start.
Yep.
Downloads. Okay. It's open.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Double click in it. Double click. Just choose the schema one
Okay.
and then open it. So there it is. Now, we were looking at this before, but we weren't doing it in an editor that was connected to the server. So when we run this script, let me explain exactly what's occurring. The client program, which is called MySQL Workbench, is connected to the server called MySQL 80 that's on Alexandra's machine. This client program called MySQL Workbench is going to send the commands in this script into the server and make it do some work. Specifically, it's going to make the database called Sequila, and it's going to make all the tables inside it. There won't be any data in the tables. Now, to run this script in this tab, right above the code, above line 1,
Mhm.
you'll see a lightning bolt. Roll over it. Execute the selected portion of the script or everything if there's no selection. Now, she hasn't selected any specific lines of code, so when she clicks on this, it'll run all of the instructions, all of the SQL instructions in here. You don't need to know all the details of what they are. Oh, we lost Jonas. He's coming back. We don't need to know what all of them are. We just need to run it. So go and click that button and it'll run this script. You can see down below all these comments that are going on. There's warnings, but there's no errors. Looks like we're done. Scroll that bottom output to be taller. You got to move very carefully here to try and find. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, go all the way up. Give us. Let's see all that. And scroll from the top to the bottom. There's no red. Might be some warnings, but who cares? So look at that. We made a bunch of things, tables and views and all this kind of stuff. All right, good. Now make that output much smaller. Now, on the left, in the schemas, everybody watch what where I have her look. Notice that in the list of schemas, i.e. the list of databases, we don't have a Sequila one yet. But we just made it, didn't we? There's two arrows side by side to the right of the word schemas. Do you see it?
No.
Move to schemas, go to the right about 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Oh, right here.
Click on that and it refreshes that view. And look, now you have a Sequila database. Expand it. Expand tables. It's just created all those tables for you. Now there's no data in them. So we need to put data in there. You follow?
Yeah.
Good. So let's open up that other script that does data. Go to that icon at the top. That one, yeah. It says open a SQL script file in the new query tab. Choose the data one. And this will insert all of our data. So run that one with the little lightning bolt symbol. All right. Now let's see if we have data. Go over to the table on the left there called actor and right click on it. Select rows, limit 1,000. It's going to select the first 1,000 rows. Click that. Look at that. Look at all the data that's in that table now. So you now have the exact same thing that they have.
Okay.
Good job. Go ahead and stop sharing. Okay, now, with all that said, you're probably not going to get to the point where you're using that a lot for a few days now, okay? What I want you to do is go back to the tutorial where you're just learning the SQL language. But you're going to hit the point where there are things you can do in this database. For example, let me share my screen. There's the Sequila database. You should be able to use Sequila and then just do basic selects. Select star from actor. And then you should move up here and run it. And look at that. I selected all the actors. You should, once you're learning the where thing, be able to go where first name equals, and we'll go Michael, I think. Why is it mad at me?
Different quotes,
Say again.
double quotes at the end.
Thank you. Did I do double quote at the end?
Yeah,
I did, didn't I? Good catch. Okay. So I should run this, and there's Michael Benning and Michael Bolger. So you should be able to also at a certain point do joins. So as you go through all of these, do all of the material inside the W3 schools thing, but start to mess around with this database. Don't even worry if you screw something up on the database or delete a table or mess up the one of the entries in it, because as you saw with Alexandra, we can always reinstall it. So that's where we're at for the day. Okay. Well done on getting through that. It takes a while and there's a lot of decisions to be made. For the most part, you can choose to default on it when you're setting things up for just development on your local machine. And many of the things on there, like I said, you're not going to mess around with much until you get a ways into your career, but I want you to have some familiarity with them to know they exist. Any questions so far? All right, good job. Okay, then everybody continue with the W3 Schools MySQL tutorial. I know we have another class in 2 days, and we're going to practice some of those fundamentals. Okay. If you can give it a good 2 or 3 hours tomorrow night of homework on this, please do. I know you all have other obligations. If you don't get that done, that's fine. But I want you to try to get through several of those basic SQL commands before we do our class on Wednesday. All right.
okay.
All right. Great job, everybody. Appreciate you. I will see you all in 2 days.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye all.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.